Begin with, we have this concept of the people from other planets as little green men. Are they green from what you know? Are they all the same?
Unfortunately, they're not so benevolent.
A fucking alien.
What's good? Welcome here, Area 51. We're here with your host, Jimmy. Another day in space, floating here in the universe. Give us a like, subscribe, and also become part of our community, goldenoutboxing.com. We're boxing purists. We like old school boxing, not really into the boxing of today, which is A side, B side, and I'm undefeated. I'm not going to fight you because A, Y, X, C, I'm more money than you, and I'm a bigger pussy, and you know what I'm saying. So give us a like, subscribe, and also check our webpage, goldenoutboxing.com. We got a lot of stories there, a lot of history from the 50s and down, very exclusive fighters. So, you know, that's the type of fights that we like. Anyway, so today I want to talk about this situation of Bob Arum. He said, and you can go to goldenoutboxing.com as well to check it out, but he says, the lightweight division is really loaded with good fighters, and the fight that I always wanted to see was either Haney or Loma against Shakur Stevenson, said Bob Arum. Again, Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis are terrific lightweights, and they're in the mix. The kid that is waiting in the wings that has proven himself as so talented is Shakur. After this fight, Haney versus Lomachenko, and if Shakur is successful, he has to fight the Japanese guy this Saturday. Shakur has been with us for years, so I'm going to push him as the opponent for the winner of this fight. I can't say because these guys have their own agendas and the timetable is really based on them. So I'll look at this fight and make plans for future fights after. They both want to win. They're terrific fighters and they'll prepare accordingly. Said Arum about Haney and Lomachenko for their 20th mark. So as a fight fan, I can't wait to see this fight. Okay. So anyway, he's already talking about Lomachenko and Devin Haney. And, you know, as you guys know, I have Devin Haney beating Lomachenko. I'd be very surprised if Lomachenko could beat Devin Haney. And one thing I want to respect about Vasil Lomachenko, in my opinion, that he doesn't get credit for, and he did duck Devin Haney, by the way. He did duck Devin Haney. He asked for the franchise belt, no excuses, you know, which I think was a duck move to do because Canelo Alvarez asked for the franchise belts to also avoid Jermall Charlo at one point in time, which also was ducking. I mean, to me, that's a duck move. All these belts and all this garbage, it's just terrible how they manage it. Like they're always giving some boxer an opportunity to, you know, get away from different fights. I mean, this is the sport that we live in boxing. I'm surprised that they are fans of boxing still and they haven't gone to UFC or Muay Thai or other, you know, disciplines, fighting disciplines. But I gotta give Vasil Lomachenko credit because at least he didn't try to get a rehydration clause. Let's put it that way. That's some shit that Canelo would do. That is some shit that Gervonta Davis would do. That is some shit that, you know, Fleming Wither Jr. did. At least he didn't do that. So I got to give him some credit for that. Any sort of opponent that he's fought against, he didn't give a rehydration clause, at least that I'm aware of. If I'm mistaken, you can go ahead and put a comment there, and then I will have to change my mind on that. But I got to give him credit for that. But I don't think he's going to beat Devin Haney. And I think Devin Haney is going to use his jab, use his range, and, you know, tie him up and beat him up. I don't like certain commentators who are really blinded. One of them is Paulie Malignaggi. I cannot stand that man. Some of the analysis that he gives are just, you know, he is very biased, and I feel like he's the type of guy that he just wants white people to win. And I'm okay with that because everybody, you know, everybody can make their own decisions. But one thing is that you want certain people to win, and another thing, what's going to really happen in the ring. Those are two different things, okay? I back certain fighters up. It doesn't mean they're going to win in the ring, okay? So the problem that I have with this is that Devin Haney had said already, and, you know, like I said, I'm trying to be as honest as possible here. Devin Haney said that he was already thinking of moving to 140. That was before Vasil Lomachenko was trying to come back from Ukraine to make a fight, right? And he said that before Shakur Stevenson came into division, because obviously he couldn't make the weight with Robson Fonseca. He got stripped by the belts, and now he has to move up because he can't make that weight class. So that all came at once to Devin Haney. But Devin Haney, to his credit, he was trying to make fights with Gervonta Davis, and he asked Calvin Ford that if he was going to activate a mandatory against Devin, who's the undisputed champion, he would take the fight. He just needed to do that. But Calvin Ford didn't want the fight, and Shakur Stevenson didn't want the fight. So they ducked Devin Haney. But now, I feel like Devin Haney is doing people a favor because he was already going to move up after fighting George Kambosos Jr. to 140. That was already his plan. He was kind of having issues struggling making weight. Okay? And he took this Vasyl Lomachenko fight just to shut up the fans of Vasyl Lomachenko who keep saying that, oh, Devin is going to duck Vasyl Lomachenko. He moves up. Okay, well, now he's getting the fight, so now he's not ducking him. He's going to beat the shit out of him. And what's going to be your excuse? Okay, I don't want to hear it. So, but now you got Shakur Stevenson also coming up, right? So, after this fight, if Devin Haney wins the fight, and I think he will win the fight, if he were to move up to 140, he's not ducking Shakur Stevenson, because he had said multiple times that 140, his weight, he's not making it anymore. It's being hard. It was the same with Shakur Stevenson. At one point, he's saying 135 is becoming difficult for me. I'm gonna have to move. Was he ducking the rest of the fighters in that division? Was he ducking Shabrat Rakhimov? He didn't make weight, and that's the reason why he was ducking all these unification fights with Hector Garcia? No, of course not. I mean, you got to be narrow-minded to believe something like that, or at least something that stupid. So he moved up because that was natural for him, and Devin Haney has to make a decision whether his body will be okay at 140 or not. Okay, because once he beats Vasyl Lomachenko, and I think that's how the fight will pan out, you get some time off. Okay, this is what happens with all fighters, just to let you know. You get some time off, and that's when you bulk up again. So anytime you're trying to shut yourself and start working out again, your body fills up more muscle tissue because you're building up, fat, because you had to fight. You're not working out for a few months. You need a little break. Your body always needs a break. So when you come back, you might not be able to make it. Okay, so I wouldn't blame Devin Haney if he were to move up to 140, because he already told us a few fights ago that, I don't know how long I can be in this weight class. It's becoming more difficult for me. Okay, and he is naturally a 140 fighter who's going to probably end up in the welterweight division. So if Bob Arum is trying to push for this fight, it's probably not going to work. Or we'll see if it works for Devin Haney, because he'll probably leave. And you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you should give any fighter at least some benefit, unless they're constantly doing something where it's controversial, like a Canelo, like a Golovkin ducking fighters, like a Fleming Jr. doing, what he was doing. Always in controversies. Gervonta Davis, always in some sort of controversy. They're always controversial. Always controversial. But, you don't get necessarily the fights that you want to see. Okay? Or if they do, they take place in a different future, in the future. Was always some controversy with these fights. Just problem makers for boxing, not good for the sport. So now, I believe that, let's say Devin Haney were to leave the division, there is a chance he might still be able to fight Shakur Stevenson. More credit to Devin Haney for doing that. But if Vasyl Lomachenko is there, do I want to see Vasyl Lomachenko versus Shakur Stevenson? Well, to be honest, no, I don't want to see that, because if Vasyl Lomachenko were to lose against Devin Haney, it would have proved my point a few years ago where I said that once American fighters are facing Vasyl Lomachenko, he's going to have a harder time beating them. Because the level in United States, I'm sorry to say this, it's just much higher than it is against like Jorge Linares or fighters around that caliber. I'm not calling them bad fighters, and Vasyl Lomachenko schooled Gary Russell Jr. when he was in 126, but I'm saying he's moving up to different weight classes, and it's just, he's facing really dangerous opposition from the U.S. So it's not the same if you're fighting a Jorge Linares than if you're fighting a Devin Haney, or if you're fighting, even a Gervonta Davis or a Shakur Stevenson. It's not the same thing. And Gervonta Davis ducked Vasyl Lomachenko at 130. That's a fact. Okay, nobody speaks about that, but that's a fact. That's why I'm saying that for me, Gervonta Davis is not the boxer that a lot of people make him to be. He ducked a lot of fighters. He would have lost some of those fights. Well, that's a different video. And you can check my rehydration clause video that I did just before this one. I think you'll like it if you're a real boxing purist fan here. But Shakur Stevenson says that he wants the winner between the two, and I got no problem. Shakur Stevenson has not ducked any. Well, maybe Gary Russell Jr. when he was in 126, he, like many fighters did, like Oscar Valdez also ducked Gary Russell Jr. A lot of fighters didn't want to fight Gary Russell, but at least he's been taking the best fights available at 130, at 135. He didn't have to take Robson Fonseca. That was a tough fight, and he made it look easy. So you got to give him credit for that. I mean, it's not a constant thing. As long as it's not constant, every once in a blue moon that happens, they're human beings. But I think that I would love to see that fight between Haney and Shakur Stevenson, but I'm not sure that Devin Haney will be able to do it or not. I'm not sure. And I've been saying this for some time already. I wasn't sure he was going to do this fight with Vasyl Lomachenko. Okay? Now, so I will be surprised if Shakur Stevenson were to fight Vasyl Lomachenko afterwards. And I will give a lot of credit to Vasyl Lomachenko, but it wouldn't be as good of a fight because it wouldn't be for belts at this point. So if Devin Haney moves up, then he will have to fight for a vacant spot. And already Shakur Stevenson has been avoided by Pitbull Cruz and William Cepeda, who don't want to fight him. So that's already bad news. And he's not going to find Keyshawn Davis because Keyshawn Davis, apparently they're good friends. So that's already a no fight, which, I mean, that sucks. I think they should fight. They're in the same weight class. I mean, if everybody's your friend, it's not a good thing. I think they should fight. So I don't know what fights Shakur Stevenson could make if Devin Haney were to move up and under those circumstances. So we'll see what happens. This is a very weird division. Certain things happened in the last year that were unprecedented, like Lomachenko coming back and fighting against Jermaine Ortiz, or, not directly against Devin Haney, who was supposedly, ducking Vasyl Lomachenko, even though Vasyl Lomachenko, who didn't want the, who didn't want to take a mandatory against Devin Haney, asking for the franchise belt designation, whatever. Shakur Stevenson coming up, so we'll see, man. It's an interesting thing. We'll see what pans out, and we'll see what Devin Haney says after the fight, because I'm sure that, I'm pretty sure that Bob Arum will be there to try to make the fight, and we'll see what happens. So, anyway, that's the news. Give us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Hagone, like the natives say, and deuces cruces. Peace out.